Imagine a company valued at $47 billion, more than Ford, more than Airbnb, more than some of the biggest banks in the world. Now imagine that same company crashing in a matter of weeks, its IPO canceled, its CEO forced out, and billions of dollars of investor money evaporating. This isn't fiction. This is WeWork. What started as a simple idea, shared office spaces for freelancers and startups, turned into one of the wildest business stories of our time. Fueled by hype, eccentric leadership, and endless venture capital, WeWork became a symbol of both startup ambition and startup delusion. This is the rise and fall of WeWork, and the lessons every entrepreneur should learn before chasing unicorn dreams. In the late 2000s, the world was still reeling from the aftermath of the global financial crisis. The real estate market, in particular, was in flux, and many cities were dotted with vacant office spaces. Into this landscape stepped Adam Neumann, an Israeli entrepreneur with a bold idea. Alongside co-founder Miguel McKelvey, Neumann envisioned a new type of workspace, one that was flexible, communal, and designed for the emerging generation of freelancers, startups, and tech workers. They called their venture WeWork, and in 2010, the first WeWork location opened its doors in New York City. At first glance, WeWork was simply a company that leased office space, subdivided it, and rented it out to individuals and small businesses. But Neumann was not content to run a traditional real estate business. He believed that WeWork was about something much bigger, a revolution in the way people live and work. Neumann spoke in expansive, almost spiritual terms about elevating the world's consciousness and building a we community, language that blurred the line between business and movement. This vision resonated in the post-crisis world, where the gig economy was booming and traditional career paths were being upended. WeWork's stylish, open offices with free beer on tap, glass walls, and communal lounges became the workplace of choice for thousands of entrepreneurs and creatives. The company's branding focused on community, collaboration, and flexibility, positioning WeWork as a lifestyle brand rather than a simple landlord. As demand for flexible workspace soared, WeWork embarked on a period of hyper-growth. The company raised hundreds of millions of dollars from venture capitalists eager to invest in the next big thing. With each new round of funding, WeWork's valuation ballooned. By 2014, the company was valued at $1.5 billion, a remarkable figure for a business that was, at its core, renting and subletting office space. But Neumann's ambitions were never constrained by the reality of his business model. He saw WeWork as a tech company, not a real estate company, and pitched it as such to investors. In an era when technology firms commanded enormous valuations, this positioning allowed WeWork to attract eye-popping sums of capital. Neumann spoke about space as a service, likening WeWork to companies like Uber and Airbnb that use technology to disrupt traditional industries. Flush with venture capital, WeWork expanded at a breakneck pace. By 2016, the company operated over 100 locations in dozens of cities around the world. It began to move beyond offices, launching projects like WeLive, apartment buildings with communal spaces, and WeGrow, an experimental school. Each new venture was framed as part of the broader We ecosystem, aimed at transforming not just work, but every aspect of modern life. The engine driving WeWork's meteoric rise was its ability to convince investors that it was a technology company capable of achieving exponential growth. This was a time when Silicon Valley's playbook dominated the business world. Prioritize growth over profits, disrupt established industries, and worry about the bottom line later. WeWork was the poster child for this approach, burning through cash at astonishing rates to fuel its global expansion. Perhaps no investor embodied the era's exuberance more than Masayoshi Son, the charismatic CEO of SoftBank. In 2017, Son's Vision Fund invested over $4 billion in WeWork, pushing its valuation to $20 billion. Son reportedly encouraged Neumann to think bigger, fueling the company's ambitions. Soon thereafter, SoftBank doubled down, and by 2019, WeWork's valuation had soared to an eye-watering $47 billion, making it one of the most valuable startups in the world. With its massive war chest, WeWork became ubiquitous. Its locations popped up in major cities from London to Shanghai, offering entrepreneurs and corporations alike an alternative to traditional offices. The company signed long-term leases for premium buildings, spent lavishly on interior design and amenities, and poured money into marketing and new ventures. Neumann's vision expanded further. He spoke of WeWork as a physical social network, a company that would eventually touch every aspect of how people lived, worked, and interacted. Yet beneath the surface, cracks were beginning to show. WeWork's business model depended on signing long-term leases for office space, then renting out desks and offices on much shorter terms. This mismatch exposed the company to enormous risk if demand ever faltered. Moreover, WeWork's rapid growth masked deep financial problems. Despite its enormous revenue, the company was hemorrhaging cash, losing billions of dollars per year as it chased scale. Neumann's leadership style also attracted scrutiny. Known for his charisma and outsized personality, Neumann cultivated a cult-like atmosphere at WeWork. He projected boundless optimism, often making grandiose promises about the company's future. Employees reportedly worked long hours in a highly charged environment, driven by Neumann's vision, but also subject to his whims. Stories of wild parties, extravagant spending, and questionable business decisions began to circulate. In 2019, WeWork prepared to go public in what was expected to be one of the largest IPOs of the year. The company published its prospectus, revealing for the first time the full extent of its financial losses, governance issues, and Neumann's tangled personal interests. Investors were shocked by what they saw. WeWork had lost $1.9 billion the previous year alone, and Neumann had engaged in a series of self-dealing transactions, including renting buildings he owned to WeWork and borrowing against his shares. The prospectus also revealed the unusual corporate structure that gave Neumann outsized control over the company, as well as an array of unconventional perks. Among them, a $5.9 million payment for the trademark rights to the word "we" paid directly to Neumann. The disclosures triggered a swift backlash from investors, analysts, and the media. Questions mounted about the sustainability of WeWork's business, its governance, and the true nature of its supposed tech model. As scrutiny intensified, WeWork's IPO unraveled. Investors balked at the company's losses and governance, and the expected valuation was slashed from $47 billion to as low as $10 billion. Facing mounting pressure, Neumann resigned as CEO, and the IPO was shelved indefinitely. In the aftermath, SoftBank stepped in to bail out the company, providing emergency funding and taking control. The fallout from WeWork's collapse was swift and severe. Thousands of employees were laid off, and the company was forced to scale back its ambitions. Projects like We Love and We Grow were shuttered or sold off. The new leadership team focused on stabilizing the core office business, renegotiating leases, and cutting costs. WeWork's valuation plummeted, and the company teetered on the brink of bankruptcy. The story of WeWork is more than a cautionary tale about corporate excess. It offers a window into the culture of Silicon Valley, the nature of modern entrepreneurship, and the perils of unchecked ambition. Neumann's vision, while flawed, tapped into genuine shifts in how people work and connect. The rise of co-working, the desire for flexibility, and the search for community remain powerful trends. But WeWork's downfall exposed the dangers of prioritizing growth and hype over sound business fundamentals. Looking back, the factors that fueled WeWork's rise are clear. The company capitalized on changing attitudes toward work, offering a product that met the needs of a new generation. Its branding and design set it apart from traditional office providers, creating a sense of belonging and identity. By positioning itself as a tech company, WeWork was able to attract vast sums of capital and grow at a pace that would have been impossible for a standard real estate firm. Yet these same factors also contributed to its undoing. The mismatch between long-term leases and short-term tenants created a precarious financial structure. The relentless focus on growth led to reckless spending, poor oversight, and unsustainable expansion. Neumann's charismatic leadership, while inspiring, fostered a culture where dissent was discouraged and accountability was lacking. WeWork's Bund saga is also a story about the limits of vision. Neumann's dream of transforming work and life was compelling, but ultimately detached from the realities of business. The company's attempt to reinvent everything, from schools to apartments to social networks, spread it too thin. Grand narratives and spiritual language could not compensate for the hard truths of cash flow, governance, and execution. In the wake of its near collapse, WeWork has become a symbol of the excesses of the last decade. A time when cheap capital, disruptive rhetoric, and founder celebrity drove valuations to dizzying heights. The cautionary lessons are many: the importance of governance and transparency, the need for sustainable business models, and the risks of conflating vision with reality. In the wake of its near collapse, WeWork has become a symbol of the excesses of the last decade. A time when cheap capital, disruptive rhetoric, and founder celebrity drove valuations to dizzying heights. The cautionary lessons are many: the importance of governance and transparency, the need for sustainable business models, and the risks of conflating vision with reality. But the story does not end with WeWork's fall. The company, under new leadership, has struggled to stabilize and adapt. The COVID-19 pandemic accelerated changes in work, with remote and hybrid models challenging the very foundation of the office market. WeWork's flexible spaces remain relevant, but the competitive landscape is tougher, and the company's reputation is indelibly marked by its earlier excesses. For Adam Neumann, the collapse was a personal reckoning. He left WeWork with a substantial payout, but his reputation was badly damaged. The cult of the founder, a phenomenon that had propelled Neumann and other entrepreneurs to celebrity status, came under renewed scrutiny. Investors and boards became more cautious, demanding greater oversight and discipline. For employees, tenants, and investors, the fallout was more immediate. Thousands lost their jobs, and many small businesses that depended on WeWork faced uncertainty. The company's landlords and creditors absorbed losses, and the broader real estate market was shaken by the specter of WeWork's implosion. Yet even as the dust settled, the legacy of WeWork endures. The co-working model remains popular, and many of the ideas Neumann championed, flexibility, community, and design, continue to shape the office industry. Competitors have learned from WeWork's mistakes, balancing ambition with sustainability. The cultural impact of WeWork is visible in the way people think about workspaces, collaboration, and entrepreneurship. In retrospect, WeWork's wild ride from $47 billion to near bankruptcy is a parable of modern business, a reminder that vision must be matched by execution, and that hype is no substitute for substance. The company's rise and fall encapsulate the promise and peril of the startup era, where the boundaries between reality and aspiration are constantly tested. As WeWork navigates its uncertain future, the lessons of its saga remain relevant for entrepreneurs, investors, and leaders everywhere. The balance between innovation and discipline, between bold ideas and practical execution, is the central challenge of business today. WeWork's story is a vivid illustration of what can happen when ambition outpaces accountability, and it serves as both inspiration and warning for those who seek to change the world. The tale of WeWork also prompts reflection on the broader forces at play in the business world. The rise of venture capital, the cult of disruption, and the globalization of entrepreneurship have created unprecedented opportunities, but also new risks. The pursuit of scale and valuation, while alluring, can distort priorities and undermine stability. WeWork's implosion forced a reckoning within the investment community, prompting renewed attention to fundamentals, governance, and long-term thinking. For the cities that hosted WeWork locations, the company's expansion brought economic activity and a new vibrancy to office markets. Entrepreneurs and freelancers found affordable, attractive spaces to work and network. Yet when the company faltered, the impact rippled through local economies, affecting landlords, service providers, and tenants. The story highlights the interconnectedness of modern business and the potential consequences of disruption. The saga also raises questions about the nature of leadership and culture. Neumann's charismatic style galvanized employees and investors, but it also sowed the seeds of dysfunction. The blending of personal vision with corporate strategy, while powerful, can create blind spots and vulnerabilities. The WeWork experience underscores the importance of diversity, accountability, and healthy skepticism in organizational life. As remote work, hybrid models, and digital collaboration reshape the future of work, the lessons of WeWork are more relevant than ever. Flexibility, adaptability, and community remain central, but they must be grounded in sound business practices. The next generation of workspace innovation will draw on WeWork's successes and failures, seeking to balance ambition with resilience. So, what can we learn from this wild story? Lesson 1. Hype doesn't replace fundamentals. A charismatic founder and slick branding can hide flaws, but only for so long. Lesson 2. Growth without a path to profit is a trap. WeWork scaled fast, but bled cash faster. Lesson 3. Leadership matters. Neumann's eccentricity fueled hype, but also chaos and distrust. Lesson 4. Investors can fuel the fire. SoftBank's billions encouraged reckless ambition instead of discipline. Lesson 5. Culture eats strategy. A company built on parties and cult-like vibes eventually imploded under its own excess. In closing, the rise and fall of WeWork is a story for our times, a narrative that captures the excitement, turbulence, and complexity of modern entrepreneurship. It is a reminder that while vision can inspire and transform, it must be tempered by discipline, transparency, and humility. WeWork's journey from $47 billion to near bankruptcy is both a testament to what is possible and a cautionary tale of what can go wrong. It invites us to reflect on the nature of success, the meaning of leadership, and the enduring challenge of building businesses that last. If you enjoyed this breakdown, subscribe to BoardroomBiz for more deep dives into the rise and fall of business empires.